device to, to repeat a network. We use a network device called a repeater, which very many of you must have been aware of. I will show you how you can to replicate a network, and you have the same.
Can yes, you please start recording so that?
Okay. 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 Thank you. I'm recording now. Yeah. So as I was saying, at the end of the class today, you should be able to know how to use a repeater device to repeat a network, like to duplicate a particular network so that you can propagate same signal within a particular subnet, So right now, I will be taking you through the basics of computer networking. I have my slide here, and we'll go through the slide. And this will really help us a lot. Now, I want you to relax, just relax, sit back and relax. The ICT world actually evolves, so nobody knows it all. But at least the basics, the little we know, we try to share with each other. So let's, okay. Please, the host should kindly, the host disabled participant screen sharing. Can you kindly make me a host? India Ruben. I want to share my screen now. It seems you disabled it. Hello? Mr. Ruben. Hello. Hello, Mr. Ruben. If you are there, can you kindly indicate? I want to share my screen, and it seems you disabled it. Okay. Thank you very much. And I'll be sharing my screen now. So, once again, you are highly welcome. I said my name is Kingsley Simeon. And I currently work with an ICT firm, with an oil and gas firm rather. And my job here is, apart from being a network administrator, I'm also an ICT executive. I will take you through this class, Introduction to Computer Networking. Now, what is networking, or what is network? A network is defined as a group of two or more computer systems linked together. When two systems are linked together, there is actually a goal. What is your goal? Your goal is to share resources. And what are the resources? The resources could be anything that is found on the network. Please do me a favor and mute your systems. Adeke Solomon, kindly mute your system. If we kindly mute your system. Okay, okay, okay. So, Francis, very good. Now I said that when two systems are linked together, it is a network. But the aim of linking two or more systems together is to share files or resources. And these files could be your printer, it could be some softwares, it could be an application, it could be a portal. So, types of networks. Very many types of networks. But because of how far this ICT world has evolved, we have grown beyond just having the major types of network to what we have now. Okay? Now we have the local area network. The computers are geographically close together, that is in the same building. Now the place and position of network of devices or network determines the name given to it. When you have a connectivity within a building, such connectivity is tagged to be a local area network. Then the wide area network the computers are far apart and are connected by either telephone lines or radio waves. The termination between two or more countries, your connection between this, just like we are communicating right now, it is made possible with the aid of what now? With the aid of the ones. Then you have the MANs, which is the Metropolitan Area Network. It's a data network designed for a town or city. Then you have the CANs. The CANs is an additional network. I said before that the types, the position and place of a network determines what name is given to. Now, when you have a campus network, the network is known to be the campus area network. The computers are within a limited geographical area, such as a campus or military base. Those are part of what now? The CANs. Then the home networks, the home area network. This network is actually contained within a user's home that contains a person's digital devices. For instance, now for the home network, you have subscribed to a particular data plan with the aid of a MiFi. Now, when you have a MiFi, let's say you subscribe to Glo network plan. Now, with that, it will help you to you're able to share the network within devices. You have your tablet, you have your computer, you have your two or more devices like the laptops, the desktop, and other computers too. That is relying on that your MiFi for connectivity. Now, such connectivity within your house or within your home is known to be the HANs, which is the home area network. Now, we are going to be looking at this content briefly before I do some configuration of a repeater device. Now, this class is aimed to be an intro class, and we'll be organizing the advanced class later on for those who are interested in our programs. Now, the first thing we're looking at here now is the network design. The network design deals with the shape of the network, like the traditional shape of the network. Then you have the network types. You have the computer networks vary in shape and size depending on usage. Like I said before, we have the WAN, the LAN, and the peer-to-peer. All these things are part of the things we have gone through earlier on, but we'll be going through details of these things by virtue of this class. Now, we'll be talking about the fiber optic cables, the switches and hubs, the servers, IP addresses. We'll be looking at the layout of a network, because networks are determined by its layout. The layout of a network, we have which is the topology and so forth and so on. We have the firewall, the routers, the wireless networks, the internet, and other stuff. Now let's look at a network diagram. This is actually a traditional way most networks are designed. Networks can either be wired, it can either be wireless, it can either be connected by any other means. Now, this is just the basic shape or the basic diagram of most networks. You see, I said before that the aim of every network is to share resources, But from the fact that look for loopholes or to intrude into a network, that gives us the idea of having a firewall, and something like a firewall to protect the network from being hacked or something. But however, you have this network to either be wired or wireless. Now, this is an example of a server. It's an example of a server. It's a switch. Now, these are some of the things, the components that makes a network. Now, the wired network. You have the wired network. Sorry, please. So, okay. Now, we're looking at the types of the networks now. You have the wide area network. The wide area network is the World Wide Web, and you have the local area network. I said is the network within a particular building. Then you have the peer-to-peer network, When you link systems together either by cables or through a particular device, is called a peer-to-peer network. Now, let's look at example of a WAN network. The wide area network exists over a large area. Data travels through telephone or cable lines. You have the fiber optics, the glow trying to link two cities together via networks. They usually require a modem. A modem is a device that allows data transmission to pass through it. The world's largest wide area network in the internet is known to be the wide area network. Then let's look at the LAN. A local area network spans a relatively small network. It's in a small area. LANs are usually combined to one building or a group of buildings. Data travel between network devices via network cables. The most common type of the LAN is called the Ethernet. How many of you know what an Ethernet is? Can anybody, if you know what an Ethernet is, can you kindly unmute and tell me what you understand by Ethernet? Yes, do you have anyone there that wants to tell us what an Ethernet is? If you know, unmute and answer, then we'll continue immediately. Okay. Now, any communication that is done with the aid of cables, the category cables like the Cat5, the Cat6, and so forth and so on, those are called the Ethernet cables. So the LANs are usually found on those platforms, with the aid of physical support. Now let's see the peer-to-peer. Now, usually very small networks, that is the peer-to-peer, is usually very small network. Each workstation has equivalent capacities and responsibilities. Does not require a switch or a hub. The peer-to-peer network does not require the aid of a switch or a hub. If you are very used to the Windows 7, with the Windows 7, you are able to create actually a virtual network that can communicate, across some devices. You can share resources. You can do one or two things with the aid of such a, in a window like the Windows 7. Now, this peer-to-peer does not require a switch or a hub. Then these types of networks do not perform well under heavy data loads. Now, if you have a peer-to-peer network, for instance, I share a file from my system, and I'm trying to, I share a file from my system, and I give very many persons access to that file. Now, if too many people are accessing the file at a time, discover that the whole thing will be very, the load will be so much on the network that you will start having a lot of data loss, delays, and so forth and so on. Then you have the fiber optic cable. The fiber optic cable, one of the advantage of it is that it reduces interference in the network. With a fiber cable, you will not encounter any form of interference on the network. It transmits data faster than copper network cable. The copper network cable is the usual cable. I mean, if you can see, can you see this? This is an example of a copper network cable. This is an example of a copper network cable. And on it, this should be a category, it should be, okay, this is Cat5e, a Cat5e, Cat5 Ethernet cable. Then this allows, the fiber optics allows for more bandwidth. Now, with the help of the fiber optics, the transmission on the network, the data transmission is usually much. It has a capacity to curtail much data transmission. Now, smaller, it's also smaller in shape and more fragile than the copper cable. It is smaller and it's also very fragile compared to the copper cable. Now, we're looking at the switches and hubs. The switches and the hubs. Okay, welcome, Lucky. Now, the switches and the hubs, these are two similar devices that does virtually the same thing. But discover that one of these devices is intelligent and the other device is actually not intelligent. Now, these switches used to be okay. Now, these switches used to be okay, you're welcome. You're welcome, Lucky. Now, these switches these devices, they are same. They do virtually the same thing. But one of these devices is called the switch. The switch is very intelligent, whereas the hub is actually not intelligent. The switch is active in the sense that it routes data to the right destinations, whereas the hub is passive. What it does is it rigmaroles the network. It goes around the network to find, it goes around the network until the right device is actually located. So it does not really travel as fast as the switches. Data travels faster through switches because data is the data actually are being sequenced, just like, unlike the hub. Then you have you're welcome. You're welcome. Welcome to the class, Joseph. Now, the hub, now with the switch and the hub again, the information is more secure when it passes through a switch as opposed to a hub. When you're in network, when you are on the network where you share files, just being on the network alone, you have access to the files that is being shared via a particular hub compared to a switch, because the switch will only give access to the destination system, rather than unlike the hub that will just broadcast information or data across the network. Now, information travel more efficiently through a switch because travels directly to its through a switch because it travels directly to its destination as opposed to being a broadcast to all PCs on the network hub. So that is that for the switch and the hub. Please, do we have any question on this switch and hub so far before we continue with what we have? If you have any question, you can unmute and actually ask the question. Okay. In the absence of that, we'll be going to the next phase of this networking. Now we're looking at the servers. The servers. Users are connected to certain servers which will fulfill the required request. Now, servers are actually systems that are set up to, give users information. Now, on the server, you have very many information stored on it. It could be the print service, it could be the file service, it could be the web service. All these are actually stored on the server. Now you have three types of servers. You have the print servers. It contains the name and location of all printers that are on the network. Now, in an organized system, you don't just jumble everything into a particular, server. Every device or every information that is served on a particular network should be stored or kept on a server. Now, the print server, I said, it stores the names and location of all printers that are on the network. Then the file servers, it could be that you have a particular software that everybody needs to access on the network. Now, this software is being stored on a particular server called the file server. So everyone have need of the software. It could be some drives, it could be some folders and so forth and so on. Now, these folders are kept on the file server, on the file servers. Now, it contains location and names of the various drives, files, and folders on the network. Now, web servers contains the programs, files, and internet websites on the website. Now, the things you actually on daily basis, very many of us try to browse information on the network, on the internet. You try to make research, ask Google one question or the other. All these things you are asking for, they are actually on a particular server on the network, which you may not know. Now, if you go into details, you'll see that nothing on the internet is actually not hosted on a server. Everything on the internet is on a particular server. And when you talk about server, you're talking about a particular system or personal computer or so forth and so on. Now, let's look at another thing again. One of the major things that makes a network possible is called the internet protocol. That is the IP addresses. Now, IP stands for Internet Protocol. IP addresses serves as the location of websites on the internet as well as the workstations that are that are connected to the web. IP addresses are made up of 4 sets of numbers called octets. There are 2 types of IP addresses. You have the static and the temporary IP. See that you call it the static or the dynamic IP. Now we're going to look at some of the difference between the static IP and the dynamic IP. We're not looking at all the plenty historical types of IP, like the classes of IP, like the class A IP, the class B IP, the class C, and so forth and so on. We're not going into details of those things. However, we're looking at the nature of IP addresses. IP address can either be static or it can be dynamic or temporary. On every network you connect to, there is an IP address that you are always linked to. Now, static IP addresses are found only on web servers, and remain the same. They remain the same. A domain name server assigns a human readable web addresses to each static IP address to make it more user-friendly, whereas the temporary IP addresses are found only on PCs, are constantly changing each time it is logged in. Temporary IP addresses are assigned by an ISP, Internet Service Provider, each time it is logged onto the internet. Now, if you don't mind, I would, hello, everyone. Hello.
Hello, yeah, with you.
Okay, thank you very much. If you don't mind, if you have your smartphone with you and you try to create a network, for instance, you have the hotspot on your mobile phone. Now, with the aid of the hotspot, you try creating a network. Now, go to the network properties, and when you're on your hotspot and a device is connected to the network you created. Now, you can actually figure out the name, the IP address of that device via your what they call it, via the device itself, or you can check it from your own device. Now, let me carry out a brief test here. I have a system. Now, these are my 2 devices. Now, please, can you see this? Can you see me? Hello?
Hello.
Can you all see?
Yeah.
Can see you.
Yeah,
Okay.
we can see.
Very good. Now, I have these 2 devices now, and I've created a network. This is a personal area network, just a personal network. This is the network from my 2 phones. This is a smartphone. It's a smartphone. Then I actually created this meeting has unlimited meet. Okay. Sorry. We have very unlimited time for this meeting, but however, we'll see what we can achieve within a very short time. And this meeting will be going on. So I've connected a HD camera to my laptop. Okay. Can you see me? Please, can you all see me?
Yes, we can see.
Okay, thank you. Now you see the quality is actually different from what it used to be now. For now, let's now go back to what I'm saying now. So I may not figure out some of these things because of time, but now this static IP address is assigned by to individual system, on a particular network. Now the network I'm connected to. The network I'm connected to is my organization's network, and we have we have a firewall. We use we use a firewall in this place, and firewalls can actually be either a software or a hardware. Now there are some devices that actually perform the work of either a firewall, at the same time also perform the work of a router. Case may be. Camera is not coming up. Okay. Video is HP web. Please, can you see me, please? Hello? Hello?
We can't see you.
Okay.
We can't see you.
Okay, let me remove the device now. I think you should be able to see me now. Can you see me?
I can't see, sir.
Okay, this okay, sorry about that. My video was interrupted. Original ratio. Okay, can you see me now?
No,
okay.
no.
Please, can you see me?
Yes, I can see you.
Thank you very much. Now, I'm trying to connect to this network. So once I'm done connecting, you see, on this system, are you seeing the name of the system connected to this network? Are you all seeing it? The name of the system connected to this network is video conferencing. But however, this phone is not too smart to figure out the IP address that this system is carrying, but I'm going to sort it out. Now, how do you find the IP address of this IP address assigned, the temporary IP assigned to address of my machine? But however, the IP address given to me by the ISP is 192.168.43.1. That is what I'm connecting with. So whoever will connect to this Wi-Fi or this device or my mobile hotspot will have to fall in between 2 to 255. So that is that demonstration for that. So that is it. So now let's go on again with this other stuff we have here. We have the topologies. Now, the network topology refers to the shape of a network or the network's layout, how different nodes on the network are connected to each other, and how they communicate are determined by the network's topology. Now, you don't just look at every network and feel that every network have the same shape. Now, what makes a network dynamic is how it is how it is interlinked together, their shape, their layout, and so forth and so on. We have three basic types of topology. We have the star, the ring, and the bus. We also have a topology called the mesh topology, but that is a very complicated topology, which we are not going to look into. Now, but we're looking at these three major types of topology: the star topology, the ring topology, and the bus topology. Let's look at a topology, a shape of a network that is called a star. Now, when a network is in this shape, it is called a star. That is, all devices are connected to a central hub, and then nodes communicate across the network by passing data through the hub or switch. For instance, I have a laptop A, laptop B, and I also have another laptop C. Now, and all these laptops are connected to a particular switch. This is actually a switch. It's a switch. This is what's the name of it? This is okay. This is a gigabit switch, a D-Link gigabit switch. Okay, and this is a 16-port gigabit switch. If all devices, if I have 3, 4 devices or more, very many devices connecting to the ports on this switch, now such network arrangement is known to be a star network topology arrangement, or a star layout network. Then you have a bus network. A bus network is like it's a straight cable network, or a straight cable network with 2 ends or 2 terminals. Okay, with 2 terminals from the source to the receiver. Then other devices are connected to it, just like it is being denoted here. You have terminators at each of the ends, and you have other how will I put it now? You have stuffs connected to it to enable what they call communication. All devices are connected to a central cable called the bus or backbone. There are terminators at each end of the bus that stops the signal and keeps it from traveling backwards. So on this very place, you have a terminator here, you have a terminator here, you have a terminator on all of these points to enable this. Now, these networks are not really common. They are not they're not too common. Very many don't embark on this network because it is not scalable. When you say a network is not scalable, it means that you are unable to either add or remove devices on a network like this without much interruption on that network. So let's look at another network called the ring network. All devices are connected to one another in the shape of a closed loop network. That is the ring network. All devices are connected to one another. That's what we call ghosting. Now, if the way most of this, the way the operating systems are being installed from the vendor's end, like this from either the Microsoft end or from the producers of these devices, these computers, the way it is being installed, they don't just carry software to put into each of the systems, what they call it, drives, to start installing the Windows on those systems like we do here. They carry out a ghost, what they call it, a ghost installation, what they call it, a ghost seamless installation on those systems. Now, what enables and makes this possible is with the help of a ring network. Now, with that, you connect every of these systems to a particular point that is on a backbone, that is connected to a server. Now, with that, you are able to initiate the installation seamlessly to all of these devices that is connected, to this network. They are interlooped together on this network. Each device is connected directly to 2 other devices, or either side of it. Device A has some port to connect to device B, and so forth and so on. You may have a splitter on a particular system. That is how it's done, because it's interconnectivity of systems. Now, you have only one LAN port on each of these systems. Now, how do you make a ring topology possible? You have a splitter, a LAN splitter that gives you either a LAN splitter that will split the network, that will split your communication in 2 places, your LAN port in 2 places. So when you connect your LAN splitter to your LAN port, you have 2 LAN access. Then you connect one of the port there, you go there like that, you extend it, you keep extending it with the help of a LAN splitter. Then you have your required result. Let's look at firewalls. A firewall. Now, a firewall is a software. Can either be a software, can either be a hardware that can be loaded onto a network that can serve as a barrier that keeps destructive forces away from a network of computers. packets of data are analyzed against a set of criteria or standards called filters. Now, filters block certain designated IP addresses. Now, every protocol or everything that is being carried out on a network is actually initiated by the firewall. For instance, if you are setting a rule on your network that you don't want IP addresses of this such, of 192.168. this and this to connect to your network, all you have to do is just to go to your firewall and filter it. Just instruct the firewall. Once you instruct the firewall, automatically these things are carried out according to your instructions. So packets of data are analyzed against a set of criteria or standard called filters. So that is how these things are done on the firewall. So the firewall can either be a hardware or a software. Now, I said something about the setup where I am right now. I am on a particular setup where I have a firewall that without, you must meet some criteria before you can connect to this network firewall. So I'll be looking at some examples. I'll show you some of these firewalls and this firewall here and what it does for us here. Now we use an antivirus called the Kaspersky. Kaspersky antivirus is one of the most sought for right now so far in the network security world. And with it, you can seamlessly do a lot of things. You can do a lot of things for you. Even your system can actually be connected. Your system has a firewall that came with it. But however, you cannot trust the firewall so much compared to that of it's a free firewall. It doesn't protect you so much compared to that of compared to the ones you buy. Now, let me assign this IP address to this system. Please, can you see what I'm doing here? Hello?
Hello.
Hello, can you see what I'm doing? Are you see what I'm doing, please?
Yes.
Yeah, no, we can't see. We don't see your face.
Can you see this screen?
Not completely.
Okay. Can you see? Are you able to see now?
Yes, you can see the screen.
Very good. Now, I'm trying to connect to this network, but it's seeing my network as unidentified network. That means that this machine cannot share from the resources of this network because it is not identifying. You see, unidentified network, no internet access. Now, what do? I have to assign the manual IP of this network to it. I will get a manual IP. I'm supposed to scan the IP, the available IPs to know which one is available. But since I'm the administrator, I can actually assign a manual IP to this. I come to I right click, I come to this point, this status, network status. I change, because this is Windows 10. You have you have to go through some processes before you can get to where you change your IP address. So now I come to this change your network settings. I come to change this change adapter options. Then I come here and I right click here. I click on properties. When I click on properties and I come to internet protocol version 4 TCP IP, then I click this, then I come here. Instead of putting to obtain, I will assign a manual IP to it so that I can connect to my network here. Okay. This is the router IP. This is this device IP here. This router IP. This is subnet or the subnet mask. Okay, the subnet mask are connected to. Then this is the DNS server, which this organization is connected to, all that. And sorry, it's supposed to be this thing. I can even, okay, let me use the internet protocol, which is the 8.8.8.8. This is, the internet protocol is actually a standard protocol everywhere, 8.8.8.8. Then I can validate settings upon exit. I can choose not to check this, but I'll do that. So, say yes, and okay. So I'm going to launch into the browser now. I'm trying to show you the firewalls. I'm to show you how it looks like. Some of the restrictions on this network. This network cannot be connected to by a stranger or by an intruder. But too many things, very many things have been filtered on this network. Now, it's now seeing the access point to which this network is connected to. So what do I do here? I'll have to go to the browser. So let's say I want to open a web page. It's showing I have internet, but in reality, I don't have internet. Let me open the browser and open a web page. So, sometimes I could give you, you could have a particular credentials of a network and you find it difficult to connect to that network. That's because you may not have the required access. Now, let me say I want to access a page in Google. I say, okay, this address, then I say enter. I press enter. Wow. This is serious. Okay, I wasn't supposed to connect because, wow, that IP address is something else. Okay, now what I'm trying to show you, we have a filter that's supposed to pick you in. Are you seeing this now? Are you seeing this, everyone? Hello?
We can't see what it.
Okay, this is, are you seeing the page? This is client authentication. So if you want to access any page on a network like this, it will bring you to this point. What enables this is actually the firewall. The router has a firewall and there's a filter on it. So before you can connect to the network, you want to check who comes in and out. So the firewall is like a basic input-output system. It's like a BIOS. It manages what comes in and out of a particular network. It filters, it also enables and permits. So for instance, I want to connect to this network. I can put my credentials here. I can say this is my credential and I type it, I connect to this network. And there's also a place, the firewall, you also have the firewall backend for this network. So I can type this. So 10, this, 80, 80, sorry, 4444. So in this place, I have to type, make it this, backslash, and this. Brings me to this point. You have to agree if this is safe. Then it confirms that it's safe to connect. Then I can now go. This is it. Are you all seeing this, please? Hello? Hello, class. Do I still have you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Now this is the firewall of the router on this platform, on this organization. So let's go out of this place. Now let's come back. Let's come to the next thing on our outline. You have the routers. The routers. Now you have two types of routers. You have the standard routers. You have the wireless routers. Whether it's standard or a traditional router is the same thing. They do the same job. They both do the same job. Routers are specialized computers that send your messages and those of every other internet user speeding to their destination along thousands of pathways. Routers are crucial devices that lets messages flow between networks rather than within networks. Understand? Routers, for your network, for your messages to go from one place to another, you need the aid of a router. So routers, yes, routers actually help you to help your messages or data to flow, messages, between networks. Let's say network A, you are in Lagos, I am here, I need a router that will route it through, or that will move this bandwidth through a pathway to get to your destination. So whether standard or wireless, they are both the same. They do the same thing. Do you understand, please? Okay. Now we have. Let's talk about the wireless networks now. Hello. Is someone asking a question?
Because of
Okay. Thank you. So now we're looking at wireless networks. Wireless network allows computers to be moved easily without having to worry about wires or cables. That is the major thing, or one of the major reasons why we encourage a wireless network. It enables your computer to be moved easily from one office to another office, from one place to another, without having to worry about the cables. You can see the relationship between the walkie-talkie and the telephone lines, the old telephone lines. Now, to move your system from one place to another without having to worry about cables and so forth and so on. Now, the internet, one of the major backbone of this whole networking thing is having to communicate from one place to another, the internet. So let's look at the internet. The internet is the simplest definition of the networks of all networks is what now? This is called a repeater device. A repeater device as part of the network devices that will repeat this network I am on, and give me a duplicate, what they call it.
Then
Okay.
5K. Yeah.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I think that will be the end of this slideshow. I would proceed immediately to the configuration of this device. So firstly, I have to unveil it. Got it purposely for this class. I have to unveil it. It's as simple as this. It's actually, the name of this device is wireless N-wire Wi-Fi network Wi-Fi repeater. So that's this cable, and this is how the device looks like. So what I'll do, for me to access this device portal,